Tag TV, and Tag Radio. Technology now has a voice of innovation and information. Get it on www.tagtvonline.com. The energy of innovation. More than a mere theme for Tuesday's 2009 Georgia Technology Summit, but a spirit of excitement and of positive promise for a future filled with opportunities. The Cobb Galleria Exhibition Hall is anticipating a bustling crowd with over 1,200 technology leaders, innovators from every part of the state and in every market imaginable, gathering together as never before in the history of Georgia's now global technology community. Best-selling author Tom Friedman tops the morning session, along with the much-anticipated Top 40 Most Innovative Company announcements and the invitation-only presentations from the elite Top 10 Most Innovative Technologies in all of Georgia. Later in the day, it's the State of the Industry report and a special once-in-a-lifetime, once-a-year Technology Hall of Fame induction ceremony, this year honoring Georgia technology industry visionary, corporate, community, and academic leader Wayne Clough. By mid-afternoon, we settle in and buckle our seatbelts as the standing room-only ballroom listens to the $10 billion GE Energy Services Company President, Dan Heinzelman. Greetings, everyone. It's Friday, February the 27th, and this is a very special 2009 Georgia Technology Summit event-exclusive Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. Amid the buzzing from the energy of innovation filling the Galleria and the excitement of an historic, larger-than-ever summit attendance, the technology community prepares to be both enlightened and entertained, as only the proclaimed America's Educator can possibly accomplish. That's right, it's Ron Clark, founder of the Ron Clark Academy right here in Atlanta, a now nationally recognized, dynamic, and innovative middle school that is privately funded with out-of-the-box curriculum that focuses on raising test scores by using exciting, creative, and engaging strategies. Ron's classes have been honored at the White House and featured on national media across the country, seen on the Today Show, CNN, and even invited to appear on Oprah. That's right, where Miss Winfrey named him as her first phenomenal man. And now Ron's teaching experiences have been the subject of the uplifting film, The Ron Clark Story, starring Matthew Perry. The Technology Association and the 2009 Georgia Technology Summit are especially proud to present this exclusive Tech Talk as Tino speaks with Atlanta's own academic energy of innovation, best-selling author and renowned teacher of the year, Ron Clark.
Ron, thank you for joining me on Tech Talk.
No, thanks for having me.
Well, you have an illustrious history, and we're honored to have you at the summit next week. I think 1,200 people I know are going to be enthused by your comments. We're anticipating that, so it's going to be great to have you there.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be really exciting.
Now, let's start out. Just what gave you the idea of the Ron Clark Academy, and how does it differ from traditional schools here in Georgia or around the country?
Right. I taught in North Carolina for 5 years, and when I first started teaching, I saw that my students weren't excited, they weren't engaged, they didn't have hopes and goals, and so I started doing all I could to put passion and energy into the classroom, and while other teachers seemed to be dumbing down the curriculum, I made my curriculum harder and harder, and what I found is that the higher expectations I had, the better the results. I did that in North Carolina for 5 years. Then I saw a school in Harlem in New York City that was struggling with test scores and violence and problems, and I went to Harlem and used my same method of innovation and creativity balanced with 55 rules I had for my students that dealt with manners and discipline. After a few years in Harlem, there was a lot of success. I was named the American Teacher of the Year. I got to be on the Oprah show, and Oprah told me to write a book, and if Oprah tells you to write a book, you've got to
you write a book.
And the book came out, and it was called The Essential 55, which is based on my program. It's a balance of passion with structure and discipline and manners. And Oprah made the book one of her picks on her show. And when after her show, the book just went crazy. 1 hour after, it was ranked number 2 in the nation, right behind Harry Potter. And the book made a good amount of money, and we used all of that money to start a school in Atlanta, a school that could showcase how to put passion and innovation in the classroom balance with structure. And what we do at this amazing school is not only do we teach our students, but we invite teachers from around the world to come visit, to sit in our classrooms, and to watch us in action and to learn from our methods. And each year we have about 3,000 teachers visit.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, what made you choose Georgia? And Georgia doesn't have, as a whole, the best reputation in terms of education. Some of my state-of-the-industry statistics bear that out, although there seems to be some improvement.
I see a lot of improvement in Georgia. We may not be ranked high in terms of the nation, but there are still some phenomenal teachers here, and one of them was named Kim Bearden. At the time, when I was teaching in Harlem, she was the National Middle School Teacher of the Year, and she's just great. Everyone loves her around the nation, and she's so clever, and I wanted her to start the school with me. She wouldn't go to Harlem, where I was, but she said if I would come to Atlanta, she'd be more than happy to start the school with me here. So I looked around Atlanta. I found a 100-year-old factory that was surrounded by crack houses and all different types of challenges. And I said, this is it. I said, because not only are we going to lift up this building, we're going to lift up these kids in this community, and we did it. Now that old 100-year-old factory is just full of color and life and technology and energy. It's a beautiful school and just a beautiful program.
Well, thanks to Kim, then, for getting you down here, it sounds like, which we appreciate. We'll get her on the radio show later on in the year.
Yeah, you should. She's great.
Well, you mentioned technology, so it's a good segue into my next question, being the Technology Association of Georgia with 6,000 members, and this radio program goes out to 16,000 people in our database. So, and they're all interested in technology and how it plays in the school. And I'm understanding that you've actually done a lot of unique things utilizing technology to drive that education excellence.
Yes, sir. The money from the book helped a lot, and we bought this old building, but then we completely ran out of funds, and we had to turn to the community, and we've had so many technology sponsors who have been wonderful. Promethean has put Promethean boards in all of our classrooms. Not only do we have the Promethean boards, we have these cool active expressions that allow the students to actually interact with me as I teach. They can send me a text message that will appear on the board. They can graph and chart equations on their little active expression that they can then project on the screen for the entire class to see. It's just so cool. The kids love it. Also, the kids have Zunes. It's kind of like an iPod, but what the students do with the Zune is that they can record music, but they can also download PowerPoints and our lessons that we teach on the Promethean Active boards, and so they can go home and review the PowerPoints and the lessons. Also, we videotape our lessons. Those lessons are then downloaded onto the Zunes so the students can go home and rewatch the lessons. All of our kids from Dell, they get laptops. And so everywhere you look in our school, you see technology. You see kids who are actively engaged in using computers, Zunes, Promethean Active boards. They, in the middle of our lobby, the students even have their own Promethean Active board. And in the morning before school starts, they're tutoring each other, and they're using the board. And it's hands-on, and it's exciting, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
How, from a standpoint of looking at Georgia now, and you can go broader than that if you like, but if you were king for a day, if you will, what sort of things need to happen in the U.S. To move our education system in the right direction, in an accelerating rate? Because it seems like what we hear is we're falling behind some countries, and I don't know if you agree with that point or not.
Yeah, one great thing about our school is that we travel all over the world with our students. By the time they're in the 8th grade, they've been to 6 of the 7 continents, thanks to Delta. And what we see as we go around the world is these other schools, they are passing us. I mean, they're setting high expectations. They're working hard. And I think in our country, we're dumbing down education. We have No Child Left Behind, and no one wants to leave any kids behind. But when I've been to 49 states to see how the program is working, and I see teachers who will not move off of adding fractions until every kid can add those fractions. And what we're doing in our country is we're doing a disservice to our brightest kids. We have got to teach to the top and then find clever and creative ways to innovate the rest of the students to get them to perform at that level. And that's what we do here at this school. Another problem we have in education is that there's such a focus on lowering class size. But if you've got a bad teacher, I don't care if there's 30 kids in there or 10 kids in there, it's still the same bad instruction. We have got to recruit and get the top students out of college. Currently, in education, we're getting the bottom third of college graduates to come into the classroom, and we're suffering for that. We have got to be competitive with other industries, and we've got to pay teachers what they deserve. The national average for teacher pay needs to be $100,000 because education is the single most important thing that will determine the future of our country. We've
a couple charter schools in the area. One is Tech High that we work with a bit, and they seem to do a really nice job. They graduated their first class last year, and the kids performed extremely well. I think it was their second in the SAT scores in the city, and out of 80, 79 are going to college, some level of college, which I thought was terrific given that these kids came in at not a higher rate. They came in at a rate that was basically where underprivileged kids were all throughout the city. Is there a different model out there? I mean, should we look more to the charter schools and the private schools? I know you've taught in a public school and have a private school.
I don't think it matters if it's a charter school or a private school or public school. I don't think that matters. I think what matters is the instruction that's going on in the classroom. That's why at our school here, that's why we invite teachers from all different types of schools to come here and to see what a middle school or elementary or high school should look like, to see how to instruct kids in a way that will get results for all students. And, for example, when our students came in here last year, they were scoring better than 39% of the nation in math. So the kids who came to our school, they weren't even as a class on average with the nation. By the end of the year, they outscored 86% of the nation. Over half our school is now scoring over the 90th percentile. And so basically, we have some kids here who came with some challenges, and by the end of the year, these kids are on par with the rest of the nation. And it's all about the instruction, what we're doing in the classroom, and how we're exciting these kids to achieve high goals.
Well, we'll save a lot for next week. I'm sure you have plenty to tell our audience, but I am interested in this whole area of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and we see the number of engineers that are actually graduating from our universities versus in India or China, and we know there's a shortage there, and it seems like it's given the number of technology jobs that are going to be out there in our nation. I think we say about 80% are going to have something to do with technology in the next 10 years. The technology that you're implementing in your school, do you see that transferring into more students being interested in perhaps exploring STEM as a career?
Oh, definitely. These kids are on fire, and the greatest part is these kids, they attack technology with no fear. They love it, and then once they learn something, they know it sticks with them, and they want to do more and push themselves. And those kids, they can run those Promethean boards. They come up with so many ideas and expressions, and their computers and their laptops. It's like these kids, it's just magic for them. And so the excitement and the energy that these kids are using to learn here at our school, they're going to continue to use these skills for the rest of their lives, and so it's going to help them in whatever profession they enter.
Well, Ron, thank you for joining me today on Tech Talk, and I look forward to being with you next week.
Definitely. Thank you so much.